up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Kate. Kate, good to see you this evening.
Oh, good to see you too.
And we got a little bit smaller. Pete can't join us. He's at Disneyland with Gina, so, you know, who needs them? I'm sure they'll be having a very good time, no doubt. Oh, wait, that's Muppet Christmas Carol. Never mind. So, but we do have Steve. Steve, how are you doing this evening?
I'm hanging there, and I get to join Pete in 3 days.
Kate,
Eric, we're the odd ones out.
Well, that's rather true on multiple levels anyway.
That's fair.
So, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share. We got some fun shows coming up, and including a couple going back into the vault for some shows that I bet some of you haven't watched in a long time. So,
ooh, like Zorro.
Not quite that far back, but this week we are doing what is possibly one of the best adventure movies of all time. You know, sword fights, giants, magic, true love, and while it may be a kissing book, The Princess Bride is what we are watching this week. I don't have to go over the plot of Princess Bride. Let's face it, if you haven't seen Princess Bride, stop right now, go watch Princess Bride, and then come back and pick up the show. Because, yeah, this is going to, a little spoiler, this is going to get good Pixie Dust ratings. Yep. So, at least for the most part anyway. So, I'm going to start with Kate on this one. Kate, what is your favorite moment from the movie? Of all of them, what's your favorite moment?
Oh my God, there's so many good ones, but my favorite is, and just thinking about it makes me laugh every time, is when Wesley is mostly dead. And he's Inigo and Andre the Giant take him to
Miracle Max.
Yeah. Miracle Max. And Miracle Max is trying to fix him. And then he says something, no, it's not true love. And his wife is like, liar! Liar! And he's like, be quiet, witch. I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. And after what you just said, I'm not sure I want to be that anymore.
Okay, what's the wife's name? What's the wife's name?
Does it start with an H or a V?
No. V.
Vivian?
Valerie.
That's so funny. Okay, yeah. So Valerie. Yeah. So that entire sequence is so funny. And it's because it was Billy Crystal and her name is gone.
Carol Kane.
Thank you. Just comedic genius. So funny. Made me laugh out loud while watching it every time. So good.
On that scene, it literally made Carrie Elwes, Wesley, laugh so much when he's laying on the table. That's a dummy because he couldn't stop laughing.
Really?
Carl had to leave the set because he couldn't stop laughing. And Mandy Patinkin bruised 2 ribs trying not to laugh. Because it was basically ad-libbing for 2 days.
It's so funny. It's like, and the prosthetics that they're wearing, it's comedic gold. I almost wish that scene, there were parts of the show that I wish had been shorter. I almost wish this scene could have gone on 3 to 5 minutes longer because it's just comedic genius. So that's mine. What about you, Steve?
Actually, that was mine. I'd say my top one. So I'll go to my number two. My number two, well, one of my number twos would be the with the poison wine going back. I think it's the guy going on. Well, if you did this, it would be this. I guess totally hilarious going on, and then that final minute where they switched it and thinking you had pulled it all off, and then the final joke is, well, they were both poisoned. I just have a tolerance for it, so it didn't really matter the entire time. But I really enjoyed that scene.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite. But the Carol Kane one, that coming out, liar, liar, totally cracked me up. I think I liked her character more than Billy Crystal's character.
I can see
100%.
that. I can see that.
100%.
Yeah. So my moment, since these two are, answer stealers, Kate, now I know how you feel sometimes. I would say for me, it's in that case probably the Wesley, the pain, talking about what, the scene at the end where he's insulting him and then talks about basically how he's going to do all these things to him, and then the drop your sword. It's just that the monologue there is just phenomenal. So and the whole writing in this, William Goldwyn did an amazing job with this script. This is actually a script that was viewed originally as box office poison. In other words, no one was going to be able to do this script well enough. William Goldwyn, I think, was just coming off of All the President's Men, which has nothing, which is nothing like, because that deals with the Watergate and Deep Throat, the Woodward Bernstein stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we're picking three. There are so many others that would say, but I mean, and then of course there is, the line of, all the inconceivables at the beginning. So no, that's impossible.
I don't think you know what that word means. You say that word a lot. I don't think you know what that word means.
I do not think it means what you think it means. Yes. So, okay. So, Steve, I'm going to go to you. What about this? We've talked about some of the great classic scenes. What about this as a whole makes this such an iconic movie?
I think it's the writing. It has so many quotable lines, the witty dialogue. I know there's one moment we were watching last night when he is talking, Wesley was talking about his mask, and someday everyone will be wearing a mask, which made us both chuckle out loud because pandemic.
Same.
Yeah. It's just the dialogue. And then I didn't know that Billy Crystal had ad-libbed most of that, but it's just that witty dialogue, the quick back and forth, the iconic line of "You killed my father, prepare to die."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you've never seen the movie, you've probably heard the line quoted somewhere.
You probably heard this movie quoted multiple times somewhere.
Marriage.
And for me, it's the timing. Yes, you can have great writing, but to have the timing of the line delivery and the sword fight that they worked like 3 months to, that is actually, if you look at it, they're using real swords and it's using real sword skills, and that is shown to be technically one of the best sword fights ever on screen.
Wow.
So, and you joke about the Melwich. My wife and I's pastor looked exactly like that guy. We just wanted him to say it once, but we didn't think he would find it funny. So, I mean, you got the writing, but then you've got the timing and the ability of the different actors. Even Andre the Giant, who, one thing I would suggest is anyone who loves this movie, go read the Carrie Elwes book, As You Wish. It's all about the making of A Princess Bride. And if you do an audio book, when he quotes different people, they actually contribute into you hear from Mel Brooks, you hear from Carl Reiner, you hear from Carol Kane, you hear from Robin Wright. I mean, let's not forget, this was her first movie role. This was pre-Jenny. So by several years.
That's wild.
So, I mean, to me, yeah, that. Kate, what else about this makes it so mwah?
The casting. It is so perfectly cast with, I mean, Carrie Elwes, like, he's just so dreamy. He's so dreamy in this movie. He was so, but he also, when I was getting ready to watch this again, I was talking to my husband and I was like, I think I'm getting this movie mixed up with Robin Hood Men in Tights. There's parts of it that I think I'm getting mixed up. Because some of the comedy is the same. Not a lot, but some of it. But Carrie Elwes is the lead in both movies. Could you actually, like, would this movie have been as good if Andre the Giant wasn't in it, or if Mandy Patinkin wasn't in Inigo Montoya, or if Wallace Shawn wasn't Vizzini? Like, Robin Wright, who is a mind-blowingly good actress, the depth at which she has done things, from this to Forrest Gump to House of Cards, like, she's so versatile. It's unbelievable. So in my opinion, yes, absolutely the writing, absolutely the timing, but the cast was cast so perfectly that they are the ones who brought the writing to life and made the writing work. Just so good. It's so good. Yeah,
and you
that would be
about Andre the Giant. He was actually who the role was written for, but then when they put it on the back shelf, you know who the number 2 selection was? Potentially Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But yeah,
that was one of my other favorite parts, is when he throws the rock and he goes, "I could have hit you."
Yeah,
but that would have been sportsmanlike.
I believe you. Okay, now, as good as this movie is, there are changes that could be made to it. There are. Kate, what would you start with as far as something you would change, big or small?
Yeah, there were a few parts that drug just a little bit. I feel like a couple parts could have been tightened up. Well, this movie actually scared me as a kid because of the rodents of unusual
ROUS. Yep.
And the quicksand. The quicksand part. I just always but the rodents of unusual size were really messed with me. But there were parts that I feel like could have just been tightened up a little bit. Like the beginning, I think could have been tightened up a little bit. But other than that, it's really good. So there are parts that drug on a little bit. But what about you, Steve?
I would say I feel like some of it's episodic. Like, it's not like a tightly woven story. It's sort of like from one thing to next. It all works, but I feel like it could have been tighter woven together. It's like we did this and then it's this and it sort of jumps. But each scene by itself is hilarious and funny and well written and stuff. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm thinking why it's not necessarily in my top 5. I wouldn't put it in my top 5. It's in my top 10, but it's not my top 5 movie.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. It's definitely a 2-part movie. You've got him tracking her down, and then you have him rescuing her. I mean, it's definitely a 2-part movie. And you can kind of tell that because of, you all of a sudden in the middle have Peter Falk and Fred Savage again. And that it's one of those where, she has agreed to marry him. No, he never kills him. It's definitely a 2-part movie. I think the fire swamp goes on a little long. I would have cut, and by a little long, I mean like maybe cut a minute and a half out of it. In an hour 38 movie, you don't have a lot you can cut.
Yeah, the fight scene with the rat could be shortened.
That could be shortened. There are holes in the whole how he became the Dread Pirate Roberts story. There are plot holes there. The scene on the boat goes on a little long. Like when they are, he's following him with the wind and she tries to escape. But guys, we're nitpicking here. We're really getting like small things to change. Okay, so as we do, we're doing what I'm now going to call cast the platoon.
Ah.
Okay. Which of the platoon members would you put in which spots? And we're going to start with Kate, and Steve and I get Kate. You know who you would want to be, right? I know who I think you are. Steve, who do you think? Want me to say?
I think she would fit so well into Valerie.
And see, I was going to go Fezzik.
Fezzik?
I
Yeah,
was gonna
I
go
think
Fezzik.
she'd do really well with Valerie.
The emotional, always wants to please people, wants to try and stick the humor in there, tries to lift people up, sometimes literally, which actually Andre the Giant couldn't do because he'd hurt his back so bad. Like when he's in theory.
I love that description, Derek.
So I would say Fezzik for you. Who were you gonna say, Kate?
Oh, Valerie. 100%. La Hoppity, 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 hoppity.
Okay.
It's so good.
Let's do Steve next.
Mm.
And see, I've got a thought for Steve as someone who can take care of him, really knows how to take care of himself, really doesn't put up with a lot. And this is gonna sound weird, but Steve as Buttercup.
Oh, I was gonna put Steve as Wesley. I don't have a good reason. I just think he's handsome and he's charming and he's the hero. I don't know. That's how I see Steve. But I see Buttercup too. I don't know. Steve. Oh no, I feel like we are very wrong, Derek.
Well,
you did not.
I appreciate. I love this event.
Just on with the Buttercup, she doesn't really need Wesley to save her.
That's true.
And that's where I was going. Is
I could also see Steve though being Vizzini, the comedic Inconceivable. Like I could see
that's who in my mind, because I guess it's looking at my students. If they knew the movie,
you'd be in trouble a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not here to defend himself. Pete, where are you gonna where are you gonna stick Pete?
I kind of see him as a Inigo Montoya.
Okay.
That's how I saw. Just he's on a mission, he's smart, he's driven, but he's also like, do you think you could hurry it up? Well, if you threw down a rope, that'd be great. I could do that. Or I could not.
Yeah. But I do not think you will trust me.
But I do not think you will trust me. Like I just, or like something about, there's something you don't know about me. I am not left-handed. Like, just
fair enough. Yeah.
I think I can
see that. Yeah.
I agree with Kate. That's who I'd say.
Okay. All right. Bring it on.
No, wait. Oh, we don't know who Pete is. To me, you're Andre the Giant. You are for what's funny is the same reasons that you gave for me. You, I think, sometimes can be misunderstood, and those of us who know you well know how good of a heart you have and how much you really do love the people that are close to you, and you do want to build people up. Yeah, I think you're the Andre the Giant.
I'd say that crossed with Miracle Max.
I'm gonna witch shame your wife.
My wife and I have always said that, there's the whole, the couple you strive to be, and it's Wesley and Buttercup, and the couple you have become, and it's Valerie and Miracle Max.
Yep.
For myself, I was honestly going to see myself as Vicini. Just the whole
I can see that.
Fool, does not suffer fools gladly. Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, morons.
I think it's the teacher thing, Derek.
Yeah, and dealing with morons at times. So okay, but I mean, I appreciate. Kate, thank you. I do appreciate that.
Yep.
So, as we always do.
Wait, what about Gina?
Oh, see, that's hard because we don't quite know Gina as well.
I mean, we do, but everybody else doesn't.
Right.
That is hard.
Gina, I could almost see as Inigo. Just she is much more when it comes to it. No, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do. No, we're not. More than no nonsense. I've got a mission, and this is what's going to happen. So
yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Steve, would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. So, as I was getting ready to say, we always rate movies on cups of pixie dust out of 5. Kate, cups of pixie dust for The Princess Bride.
4.5. If I could give it a 4.75, I would, but we don't do that. So 4.5.
For the record, Pete, we got a comment. Did give it a 4.5 also. Steve.
I'm torn between a 4 and a 4.5. I'm I'm gonna have to go. I might have to go with a 4 because I think other movies I put at 4.5, and it's not just quite there for me.
Wall-E or this one?
Oh, I love Wall-E.
Okay, because you give Wall-E.
I would probably watch Wall-E before I like this. This one I could watch occasionally, but it's not necessarily my go-to. I think maybe it's because it came out when I grew up when this movie came out, and there's other movies that had more of an impact than this one for me. So 4.
That's fair. Okay, this or Bug's Life? Are they about the same for you?
Oh, Bug's Life. They're so different. I would say this more than
4.
Bug's Life. What did you give Bug's Life?
4. Again, you're right in that 4. You'd love a 4.
Yeah, it's right there. I'm going to go with 4. I'm sticking with 4.
And I'm going to go 4.5. As someone who is very stingy with their 5s, like I've given 2 the entire time we've been doing this show. Pete brought up an interesting point. To sit down and watch this whole thing, you almost have to be in the mood for it.
Yep.
And if it's a movie you have to be in the mood for, it's not a 5. Now, if it's on, I'm not shutting it off, especially because my wife would kill me. Because this is probably her favorite movie of all time. So do I need to give it a 5 retroactively? Just won't know if I'm around next week. If I should have given it a 5 or not. So, okay, Kate, what do we got for Pixie Dust for Disney Plus news this week?
Disney Plus news. We only have one thing. The head of Marvel TV says that Marvel shows coming up should be able to be. I'm so sorry. Should be able to be jumped in anywhere without needing lots of background. In related news, Marvel now has a real estate listing selling the Brooklyn Bridge at a discounted price. What?
No, if you believe that, I'll sell you the Brooklyn. I've got a bridge to sell you.
Oh, I gotcha.
The whole idea that you can jump in anywhere on Marvel series and the only way that's going to work possibly is if they go truly episodic with like Daredevil's going to be the next big Marvel series that's coming out.
I mean, okay, to be fair, from someone who has watched every single Marvel movie and TV show, certain ones like The Runaways, Iron Fist a little bit, The Defenders, you don't have to know the backstory.
But can you truly jump in the middle of a season and not be lost?
Oh, no, but you could watch one season of a show and have no knowledge of Marvel and be okay.
But to me, that's not what he's saying. He's saying I should be able to pick up episode 4 of the new Daredevil show, not having seen anything else, and not be lost and be totally on top of it, the same as everybody else.
Oh, that's not how I read it. I read it as you could watch this show as a standalone show. It could go either way.
And see, to me, it needs to be more like a CSI type thing where, yes, you might have a little bit in the background of the characters, but you can jump and watch just one episode and not be lost totally. And I don't think Marvel has done that yet.
Yep.
So, okay. Next week, we are jumping north of the border and back in time. We're going to watch the documentary rock concert documentary Queen Rock Montreal. This was originally came out into the theaters in, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. Not for long, but Disney has gotten the rights to this. It was taped over 2 nights at a concert that Queen did, and they set the concert up on those 2 nights specifically for filming. I've not even touched this. I will say I love Queen. Most of Queen stuff. Some of their stuff's a little weird, but loved Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, I know that's a quote. It's very loosely inspired by a true story, and the fact that they were all in Queen, and yes, they did Live Aid. But I'm looking forward to this because this is going to be one of those where I can just turn it on and just not. This is truly going to be you're not going to have to think for 2 hours. So I'm looking forward to that. We do have some good shows coming up, but if we're always taking suggestions, guys, if you have any suggestions, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Send us messages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I refuse to call it X, YouTube, and we have new shows coming out every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Kate and Steve, Pete and Gina at Disneyland, we will see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Plus Platoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.